Cause is result, result is cause. No cause, no result. Cause is cause, and result is result. Of these three statements, which one is correct? Ha! The sun shines outside and the weather is warm. So some of you know, I was born in Turkey. And growing up, going round and round many different countries. Actually, my first language is English, so it's much easier for me to say everything in English. But I learned Hangul, the Korean alphabet, at an early age so I could read and write in Hangul. So I never really had a chance to learn Chinese characters, actually. Well, most of you know that Hangul was invented by a Korean king, King Sejong, right? Yeah. You know that. You probably should know who he is because he's on your 10,001 note in your wallet. Anyway, just to make a long story short about why I want to talk about Hangul is because actually this king in the 15th century, when he came into power, he had a big aspiration. His aspiration was to help all people without distinction learn to read and write. And to do that, he had to make a secret society of scholars and supporters who could do that. Because once he decided to go on his mission to make this alphabet available, actually he got so much opposition from his own supporters. The reason was he became king and all his supporters were helping him to create a Neo-Confucian society in Korea. And Buddhism was already in Korea almost 1,000 years. So when he decided that he wanted to actually make a language available to all people, all common people, not just aristocrats and wealthy and educated, it came with a lot of opposition. So he had about 8 brilliant scholars, and they tried to invent this alphabet in secret. And one of those scholars was one of his own sons, a brilliant, bright, young prince, Gwangpyeong-daegun. He was very educated, very intelligent, very bright, talented, creative, a great swordsman, a great horse rider, a great warrior, and he loved his father. And he supported his father on this mission. But one day, this 20-year-old beautiful son suddenly fell ill and died. And when he died, for this king, this was probably the biggest, greatest suffering of his life. How come my most precious son, who has so much ahead of him, I can give him this whole kingdom, why does he die before me? So he fell into great remorse and deep sorrow and suffering. And in his suffering, he recognized something. He recognized how when he came into power, he was trying to establish Confucianism in society. So in order to do that, he had to weaken Buddhism. And in order to do that, he destroyed many temples. He confiscated many wealth existing in the temples, the artifacts. He even banned monks and nuns to enter Seoul, the capital, for many, many years. So then Buddhism declined. And he did that, and he was very powerful. And when his son died, suddenly it really hit his mind. What happened here? Somehow, this correlation of deep suffering inside and the suffering that was created in Korea when he destroyed many aspects of Buddhism, he recognized this is cause and result. So Zen Master Seung-san says, cause and effect is always clear. It's only clear when we really attain that. So this king, Sejong, continued on his quest for creating the Hangul, and actually the alphabet was completed despite many dangerous oppositions. And he was able to complete it actually because he was able to do it in secret in many Buddhist temples where they gave refuge for this kind of activity to happen. Not only that, afterwards, he built many more temples, even established an examination for sunims. And when his beloved queen died, he bestowed the most beautiful 49-day ceremony and declared to the country that this is the most important ceremony to give to any loved one. So cause and effect is clear. That means when we see our results, what do we do with it? So actually, as a result, I'm one of the people who can read Hangul. And actually, the very first Buddhist sutra text I ever got was when my grandmother died. She was a devoted Buddhist, and I was just beginning to learn about Buddha and Dharma. And she passed away, and in her house, there was almost nothing left. She had reduced everything to few small bundles. And one thing that was there was a little book, the size of my palm, and it was the Heart Sutra with a lotus flower in front, in Hangul. So that was my first Buddhist text. So I wouldn't be able to read that unless the king had had this great, wide compassion that all people, without distinction, could learn to read and write. He gave that freedom. So actually, but when I look at how I was able to start practicing Buddhist teaching, it was actually all through English. My first encounter with the Quantum School of Zen was going to the Zen Center in Paris and meeting Zen Master Ubong, having my first interview, Kongan interview, receiving primary point teaching in English from a Polish Jewish Zen master in Paris. Then, coming back here, we are all together in Keryong Mountain, talking about Korean Buddhism in English to a bunch of people from different countries. So Zen Master Seung-san actually, as we all know, he learned Chinese characters. He was very fluent in them. He understood them very well. He was very versed in all of the sutras and Buddhist teaching. And yet, when he went to America, interestingly enough, he had to dump all of that and learn English from zero. And it was only through English that he could teach everyone outside of Asia. And he taught in the most simple language. He didn't try to learn English to be perfect at it. He used whatever came and then threw it all out in Zen. And That was the most effective way he could teach. So he digested even through language the teaching, chewed it for us, and gave it to us so we could swallow it smoothly. So what makes people great? Why do I say great? Because King Sejong, after his death, he was posthumously called King Sejong the Great. Sejong Daewang. Zen Master Seung-san, our founding teacher, we call him 대선사님, Great Zen Master Seung-san. There are many, many Zen masters, many, many kings, but not everybody is remembered as a great king or a great being or a great teacher, a great Zen master. And none of those people actually aspired for greatness. But what made them great is actually their big vow and direction. So King Sejong's direction was to help all beings without distinction become educated. Zen Master Seung-san's direction was to save all beings without distinction, despite any culture, language, nationality, gender, color, beyond any kind of differences. So when all of those beings, all those people benefit from their endeavors, then this great appears naturally. Just like the sun, the great sun warms us. So I remembered this part about Zen Master Seung-san because I think what's most important that I've learned so far is you don't leave anybody behind. And for that I'm truly grateful because I know I would have been one of those people who's left behind if it wasn't for this benevolence and compassion of Zen Master Seung-san's very wide, compassionate, deep, and loving Dharma that holds everything. So I'll just share a very brief story. A number of years ago, actually, it was the third memorial of Zen Master Seung-san's death. In our school, we had a big ceremony in Musangsa here, and about 200 people from all over the world came to Korea for a pilgrimage. And that time we visited one temple, Donghwasa Temple in Daegu, Palgongsan. This temple, we all got off the bus, 200 people got off the bus, and we were going to be received by the abbot, the Korean monk who was going to welcome us, give us a Dharma speech, and give us some tea. And when you get off the bus and enter the temple grounds, it's a beautiful temple. Everyone should go there one time. In this temple, there's a beautiful grounds and many bridges, and you have to pass these bridges and the grounds, maybe walk about 15 minutes to get to another big hall where at least 200 of us could fit, and there was going to be a Dharma talk, and we were going to bow to the abbot. But as we were going up and trying to get to this building, there's 200 people, they're all from different countries. We have to go to the toilet. They all have jet lag, they're tired. And I was one of the volunteers helping, with the group. So I was up ahead, and that time, Haetong Snim was there. And he was ahead of me, of course, perfectly organizing everything. And he came down, there are these steps from where the big building is, and I was waiting kind of a little bit lower and trying to get the people to come so they don't go to some other direction. And Haetong Snim says to me, Bosalim, can you please make sure everybody comes quickly because the abbot's already here and we're late. We're late, so please get them to come in because he's going to give his speech soon. I said, yes, Singing. So I rush down and I start like, you know, kind of trying to get the people to come up. I keep doing this and people are flowing and they're trying to move up and they're trying really hard, but I see they're just like, you know, some people are distracted, some are just like, you know, don't care, some are tired. And I keep doing my job, but inside me there was this rush. Like, come on guys, the Sunims are waiting, come on. And then at one point, the Master Songhyang comes with a group of people behind her. And I go, come on guys. And Bobby looks at me and goes, Kathy, Jean, she's back there. She's really far away. Her foot's broken. She's not going to be able to walk so fast. Don't leave anybody behind, okay? And then she went up. And when she said that, I just got totally stuck. She said, don't leave anybody behind. And I just stopped and I looked at all the people and all the rush inside of my chest disappeared. And I understood the teaching in that moment. Don't leave anybody behind. That leaving behind is when we leave ourselves behind. When we don't believe in ourselves. When we don't believe in ourselves, we leave somebody else behind. So this is a very ordinary thing that happens all the time. We leave some people behind. Great is ordinary. Ordinary is great. No great, no ordinary. Great is great, and ordinary is ordinary. So which one do you like? It's wonderful to see so many great Dharma friends all together here. Thank you very much.